The series begins with a man who appears to be very rich but is reckless and engages in many relationships. We see him sleeping next to a woman after a party he hosted at his house, which was attended only by women. At that time, the family lawyer appears, coming from Istanbul to meet him. When the lawyer arrives, he speaks with the maid, who complains about the man. However, the lawyer does not understand her because she speaks Spanish. At this moment, the man hears him and is delighted upon hearing his voice. He goes downstairs to greet him, and the lawyer informs him that his father passed away a month ago, must return with him to Istanbul. However, the man does not show any signs of sadness or distress. In Istanbul, the older brother is shown sitting with his aunt and his 3 half-sisters from another mother. At that moment, the lawyer calls to inform him that he found the younger brother, but he does not want to return with him. This greatly upsets the aunt, whose main concern is to claim her share of the inheritance. The older brother speaks with the lawyer, asking him to try to persuade the younger brother to return to Istanbul. The lawyer is forced to use his last trick to bring him back, telling him that his father left him a message which he will give to him once the will is open. However, the man remains uninterested and says it is unnecessary. The lawyer pressures him by mentioning that the message concerns his mother, which disturbs the man. Because he loves his mother deeply, he decides to return to Istanbul. Meanwhile, a woman wearing a wedding dress appears, and we learn that she is about to marry a man. Another woman enters and takes her to her groom. As she meets her groom, the younger brother arrives at the hotel, since her wedding is in the same hotel. He goes up to his room. The bride seems upset. She is touched when her in-laws put a special family ring on her. They enter the hall, dance, and drink. We see the bride's brother looking sad. It appears that she is being forced into the marriage. The groom drinks excessively until he becomes drunk. When they go up to the room, the bride starts to take off all the jewelry she wore and puts it in a box. The groom, coming out of the bathroom, asks her to change her clothes. She enters the bathroom and holds her mother's necklace, asking for her help. After the wedding, we discover that the other woman is not the bride's mother, and the sad brother is not her brother at all, but rather that the bride and her friends are con artists. The man who pretended to be her father appears. We learn that he employs all of them, and they deceive wealthy grooms to steal the gold and gifts the bride receives at the wedding. When the bride comes out of the bathroom, she finds the groom in front of her, trying to get close and kiss her. She tries to push him away, but fails. She opens the door and escapes quickly, but unfortunately, she leaves in her nightgown. The door locks behind her. The groom falls to the ground from being so drunk and falls asleep. She enters the elevator in her nightgown and feels that everyone is staring at her. At that moment, she meets a man who is surprised to see her in her nightgown. She explains to him that she forgot her card and the door locked behind her. The man responds that he didn't ask and that he is not interested in knowing. Unfortunately, as soon as the elevator reaches the ground floor, she hears the voices of her in-laws in front of the elevator. She's forced to hug the man until they leave, but he takes advantage of the situation and keeps holding her, lying to her that they are still there. She yells at him when she finds out that her in-laws have left, and he lets her go and walks away. He then meets the hotel manager. At the same time, she goes to the reception to request a spare card for her room. The man asks the manager to delay her, as there is a challenge between them. After that, he meets his brother, who is not interested in their father's will or his money. We learn that the man does not love his father because he cheated on his mother, who had an accident on the same day she discovered the infidelity. He tells his brother that their father is to blame for their mother's death, but his brother dismisses it as fate, the mere argument caused by the infidelity. He gets up to leave and reminds him to be at the company the next day to open the will. As their siblings are under 18, the inheritance will go to them. At this time, the hotel manager implements the man's instructions and informs her that there was a problem with the system and it would be resolved in half an hour. She is forced to wait for the issue to be resolved, but she is hungry. The manager tells her that it's too late, the restaurant is closed. At that time, she goes out to the swimming pool area. Unfortunately, she hears the voices of her in-laws, so she is forced to get into the water so they wouldn't see her. At the same time, the man passes by and is surprised to see her in the water. He thinks she is drowning, so he jumps in to save her. However, she yells at him because she is afraid that her father-in-law might be there. He offers her to go with him to his room until the problem is solved, because she is wet, might get cold. She initially refuses but agrees, especially since she was very cold. They go to the room together, and he also offers her clothes to wear. After she gets dressed, he picks up his phone to order food for her, but she tells him that the restaurant is closed. He tells her that he owns the hotel. She laughs and does not believe him at first, but his look convinces her. She cannot believe it herself. He asks her to eat with him. She refuses but agrees to eat due to hunger. In the middle of the conversation, he tells her that any place he visits must have his own hotel. Afterward, he asks about her job. She replies that she works in freelance jobs and also earns from them. Then she asks him to find a solution to her room problem. He calls the manager and informs him that she can take her room key. She cannot believe it and walks away, but his main concern is to know her name. She returns to her room and finds her husband still asleep on the floor. She opens her wardrobe, takes her clothes and also the jewelry, and leaves the hotel. She successfully takes the jewelry and escapes without anyone noticing her. When they go to their hideout, a man starts dividing the money among them, which, by the way, turns out to be little, and he takes the largest share. He assigns the gold for the next operation, tells them to get ready because they will travel to another country. Then a woman asks another member to leave with them. At that time, another woman notices his glances towards the first woman, confirms that he is attracted to her. The next day, the first woman wakes up to the voice of the second woman, very late and on her way to the hospital. The second woman asks her not to go because they will be late for their travel appointment. Besides, she would have to pay all the money she earned from the operation. First woman reminds her that she was forced to work in scams to find her mother. She leaves her and walks away. Then the first woman goes to the hospital and visits a person in a coma, telling him that she is going to travel. A nurse enters and we learn from her that the first woman has been paying his bill without even being related to him. Suddenly, the first woman discovers that her necklace is missing. She takes her bag and leaves the hospital. The first woman calls the second woman and asks her to look for the necklace, but unfortunately she does not find it. The second woman warns her to return to the hotel again or they will be exposed. However, the first woman ignores her advice, takes a taxi, and calls the hotel to ask about the necklace, but she gets no information. She tries to get the phone number of a man, but fails. After losing hope, the first woman sees the man getting into his car as soon as she arrives at the hotel. She asks the taxi driver to follow him, but the man reaches his company and security prevents her from entering because she is not an employee. First woman is forced to wait for the man to come out. The man enters the company and everyone is surprised to see him. He waits for the meeting and shows that he is not really interested, delaying the meeting further and even asking for coffee to drink. At that time, he meets a girl in front of him and does not know that she is his younger sister, who is holding an ice cream and has smeared it all over her face. She keeps walking behind the man and does not want to leave him. At the same time, another character discovers that the girl is missing. He gets up and starts looking for his sister to the extent that he enters the meeting and looks for her under the chairs. When an older woman learns about this, she becomes very worried about the girl, and they all start looking for her until the man comes to them, holding her by her clothes and asking about her parents. Another man introduces him to his siblings. They are surprised to see that he is their brother because it is the first time they have seen him, but the man is not interested and goes into the meeting. The lawyer begins to read his father's will, which he wrote to divide all his properties equally among his children from his first and second wives. Even the company shares will be divided equally among the 5, shocking an older woman when she learns that she has no share in the inheritance. But she has hope that another man will help her, as she has control over him, makes him follow her lead. The lawyer continues speaking, explaining that since the children are under 18 years old, the management will be under a guardian until they reach legal age. An older woman is sure that a man will be the guardian. However, the lawyer surprises everyone by stating that the guardian will be the company's manager and the one who owns the largest share, who will be another man. He will be responsible for them for a 3-month probation period. If he fails, the guardianship will be taken away from him by a court ruling and given to the first man. Everyone present, including the children, is shocked by this announcement. The children are reluctant to have the new guardian because they love the first man and are attached to him. At this point, the appointed guardian stands up, refuses the guardianship, and leaves. The first man becomes very upset because he had done everything to take over the company, but still failed. He becomes even angrier, throws his father's picture on the ground. The appointed guardian leaves the company, finds a woman outside who tells him that her necklace fell off in his room, that she must return with him to the hotel. Reluctantly, the guardian agrees to take her with him. As soon as the woman arrives at the hotel, she tries to ensure that no one sees her. She sends a message to another woman saying she will be late. When she enters the hotel, she is shocked to find a man and his family in the reception searching for her. She turns back and tells the guardian that his help is not needed. She will return again. The guardian notices that she is running away from the people he assumes are her family. He takes her and enters the hotel through the kitchen to his room. There, the woman begins searching for the necklace in every place she had been, but she fails to find it. At that moment, someone knocks on the door, and it turns out to be the manager, who slips up and mentions the bet with the guardian. The woman overhears them and slaps the guardian across the face, accusing him of lying to her, allowing himself to play with her life, and because of him, she lost her necklace. She wounds him with her words, telling him that he has no one willing to sacrifice themselves for him, and then leaves. Meanwhile, another woman informs two men, one of whom was pretending to be the woman's younger brother, that the woman has not yet arrived. She must have returned to the hotel to retrieve her necklace. They get into a car to catch up with her, even though it could be disastrous for them to go back there. At the same time, another man arrives at the hotel to meet the guardian. As the woman comes down, she tries her best not to be seen and takes advantage of a tourist group to exit among them. Unfortunately, her cap falls off, and her mother-in-law spots her, so she runs away and gets into the other man's car to save herself. We go back to the guardian, who meets the other man. The man hands him an envelope left by his father, telling him that his father insisted he be the guardian because he resembles his mother a lot and must take responsibility. However, the guardian refuses to accept the inheritance, forcing the other man to leave after leaving the will. When the other man goes down, he notices chaos in front of the hotel. He gets into his car, which contains the woman, and drives off until they reach a farm. At the same time, two men are waiting for the woman. They are spotted by the man and his family, who attack them. One of the men fights them all off and escapes quickly. At this time, the woman gets out of the car, surprised by her surroundings. She takes her bag and tries to leave, but a guard sees her, chases her, and even dogs join the pursuit. At that moment, the woman is frightened and tries to escape, but he manages to catch her and tells her that he will report her to the police. Another man appears and rescues her from him, mistaking her for the new children's nanny. The woman is forced to act as a nanny to avoid being discovered and potentially going to jail. She gets to know the children, but one child is annoyed by her presence and refuses to greet her. Meanwhile, another child takes a liking to her and keeps teasing her. The woman is moved when she learns about this. Afterwards, the boy takes his sister to his room. The woman follows them, tries to get to know the annoyed child again, but she slams the door in her face. The woman then enters another child's room and puts her to bed. Later, the man who rescued her takes her to show her room. The woman is surprised by the appearance of the room, which makes the man tease her, suggesting that the people she used to work for must have made her sleep in the storeroom. Then he leaves her alone. The woman enters the bathroom, is impressed by its beauty, takes a hot shower, falls asleep from exhaustion. The next morning, the woman wakes up and finds calls from another woman. She calls her back and is shocked when she tells her that the family of a man caught two men and beat them, and it's unbelievable that they managed to escape. She advises the woman to stay put until the situation calms down. Later, the man enters the woman's room and tells her he has been waiting for her for 2 hours, begins to tell her everything about the children, making the woman feel trapped. At the same time, another man wakes up to the sound of his phone ringing and throws it to the ground. He goes down to pick it up and is surprised to find the woman's necklace under the bed. He places it beside the will and enters the bathroom to change his clothes. Afterwards, he goes to the sea, remembering the woman's words to him. He asks the driver to park the car and gets out. He holds the envelope given to him by another man, reads the letter inside. As soon as he opens the letter, he finds that his father wrote to him that he did not cheat on his mother before she died, that he loved another woman, knew it was wrong. He would forgive him if he fell in love. He continues, stating he left him the company because he tried to distance his mother from it by forging documents proving she was mentally ill. His only wish is for him to have a family after him. He is shocked when he opens another paper and finds the fake diagnosis that distanced his mother from the company, which all went to his father. Not only that, but the guardianship went to his father because his mother was deemed unsafe for him. At that moment, another woman arrives at the company, and the press welcomes her, asking who will take over the presidency of the company. She tells them that it will be another man. We see him preparing himself for what he will say. Another woman enters and calls him to meet the press. At that moment, he begins to speak, but the man interrupts him when he arrives and announces in front of the press that he will take over the presidency of the company. Then he enters the company, shocking the other man, who follows him inside. The first man shows him the report written about his mother, confirming that his brother knew and accuses him of participating in her death and also in sending him to a boarding school after her death. The other man tries to defend himself, saying that they had to protect the company. The first man threatens him, telling him he will take the company they built at the expense of his mother, and leaves him and walks away. Moments later, the man arrives at the farmhouse. There, he reminisces about his childhood, waking up to the sound of his father telling him about his mother's death and the police taking him away in their car. The man hesitates to enter, but manages to do so. As soon as he rings the bell, he finds the woman in front of him, opening the door. He is very surprised to see her there, even thinking that she might be following and watching him. However, the woman is shocked when she learns that this is actually the man's house. As another man welcomes him, takes his bag, and asks her to call his siblings. In the room, a girl is talking with her brother, saying that the man has arrived at the house and they want him to be their guardian. The brother asks her to calm down and reassures her that everything will be fixed. At that time, the woman enters and tells them that they need to meet the man. The girl refuses and also prevents her siblings from coming downstairs, but the woman manages to persuade them with sweet talk and sends them down. She sends a message to another woman to talk to her. Meanwhile, another woman is sitting with two men, talking and fearing that the police might reach them. Then she sees the message and calls the woman, who surprises her by saying she is staying with the man she met at the hotel. The first woman tells her that things are chaotic for them. She must stay where she is until they get out of this crisis. Unfortunately, another man hears her conversation, keeps an eye on her, because the first woman had hidden from that she knew the woman's location. Meanwhile, the man meets with his siblings. The girl expresses her dislike for his presence, speaks harshly to him because she does not like him. However, another man tells him that they are just children and asks him not to be upset with them. Afterward, the man goes to the stable and sees the horse he loves. Another man tells him that it has given birth. They were waiting for him to name it. However, the man says it is not the time, asks him to call the woman. The woman appears in her room, confused and scared, trying to gather her words to speak to the man. Another man enters and tells her that the man wants to see her. She listens, and then the man asks her to tell him everything. She feels compelled to lie to get out of the situation. She tells him that the previous nanny sent her as a replacement. She is here temporarily. It will leave. To make him believe her, she calls another woman who will pretend to be the old nanny. However, the man refuses to listen to her, convinced that she is hiding something. At that moment, another woman appears, who is a friend of the man and was also the former girlfriend of his brother, but they had separated. She sees news about him on social media by chance and calls the man to congratulate him on his return, asks him to meet. The man enters the house with files related to the company and asks another man to find him a place to sit. The man apologizes, saying there are no empty spaces and suggests he could sit in his father's office. The man tells another man that his father used to forbid him from entering his office. So he enters the office and throws all the files on the floor, showing signs of a complex from how his father treated him when he was young. Another man is in his car, calling his assistant at the company, saying he won't be able to be at the company. The assistant tells him that she has sent the files to the man at the farm, which annoys him greatly. He calls his aunt to inform her, and she advises him to calm down and not go to the farm because he wouldn't be able to handle the children. The woman appears at the farm gate, asking the guard to let her know if a woman arrives and gives him her number, tells him that another man is busy and has entrusted her with this task instead. Then we see the man in his office reviewing the files. At the same time, the woman is with the children, going back and forth to the gate to see if the woman has arrived, which makes the man wonder why she keeps leaving the house. A few minutes later, the woman receives a call from the guard named Osmond, telling her that the woman has arrived. She goes out, confused, but bumps into another man and apologizes before walking away. She meets the nanny and learns that she has taken her job. The woman lies to the nanny, saying that another man asked her to work and her presence is unnecessary. The nanny leaves and tells her that she will call the old nanny and inform her. The woman then calls another woman, asking her to call another man and bother him so that the old nanny can't reach him. Later, we see the man sitting with another man, discussing the company, stating that he has now taken responsibility for it, must pay attention to every detail. However, the other man is displeased, especially since he feels that the company stalled when he was in charge. The man then walks away but meets the woman and recognizes her. The man notices that she speaks nicely with him, unlike how she talks with him. He laughs and goes inside to inform his siblings that the lawyer will arrive at 10 o'clock. They must get ready. Meanwhile, another woman calls another man and continues to bother him until he turns off his phone. This was their plan to ensure that a woman named Shulpan wouldn't be able to contact him. She sends a message to the woman, informing her that the plan succeeded. Unfortunately, the nanny returns again. The guard informs the woman. She goes out, terrified that someone might see her, but the situation worsens when the man comes out at the same time. She prevents him from opening the door and lies to him that the nanny is her friend. The man moves her aside, and when he opens the door, he finds the new nanny. He then laughs at the woman, who feels she has gotten herself into trouble. Then the man talks with the woman, asking her to tell him her truth. Hesitantly, she responds that she was fleeing from the hotel because they wanted to force her into marriage. She saw another man's car in front of her and got into it. When she realized that another man needed a nanny, she decided to stay at the house. The man leaves but returns after a few minutes, telling her that he has dismissed the nanny, that she can stay in her place, and asks her not to lie to him because he does not like lies. He forgives her because he is convinced by her problem. Meanwhile, the nanny appears, leaving the farm with a bag full of money. The next day, the man wakes up to the sound of his siblings. Shortly after, the lawyer arrives. They all gather in front of him. The lawyer presents the will for him to sign. As soon as he signs the will, he decides to move from the farm, but the lawyer shows him the conditions that his father had set in the memo. The first condition is that they all must stay on the farm. The second condition is that they must dine together every day, and also any parties or birthdays must include everyone, all to be documented with audio and video. The man calls a woman to find him a design engineer because he plans to change the decor in the farm the next day. However, a girl is displeased by this and gets angry at him because the house holds memories of her father and mother. She verbally assaults him and tells him that she hates him, but he does not respond to her and leaves. Then the man goes out to get into his car, but a woman stops him, accusing him of being heartless, questioning how he could allow himself to break his siblings' hearts. Even the girl comes out and throws all his clothes on the ground, cursing him. Another man watches all this unfold, greatly disturbed by the situation they have reached. Minutes later, the girl takes her siblings and gets into a car. Another man gives them permission to leave, but the woman refuses to leave them and joins them. They then go to a place where the woman learns it was the last place they were with their father and mother before they died. At that moment, another woman calls the woman to meet her. The woman asks the driver to take the children back to the farm and assures him she won't be late. Later, the woman meets another woman in a cafe and tells her about the man and how cruelly he treats his siblings. Subsequently, the other woman has to leave before anyone notices her absence and scolds her. They hug. She leaves, but unfortunately, another man has been observing them, knows her location, calls another man to inform him happily. Girl calls another woman, tells her everything that happened. The woman feels she has finally won the battle. She enters the company with another man. The man hears about her arrival. Shortly after, we hear the woman scream. She discovers her office is empty. She finds a message from the man telling her to come to his office after the shock. The woman goes to the man's office with another man, but is shocked when he tells her he has fired her from the company. Even the other man can't do anything for her. She leaves the company devastated by all her failed plans. Afterward, the man talks to the employees, announcing that the first change is that their attire will be casual. Formal suits are not required. They will also work only 3 days a week. Those who want to work from home are welcome. He even cancels the meetings, allowing them to work anywhere, not just at their desks. The employees are thrilled with his decision and applaud him, but another man is upset by his actions and tells him that what he is doing will bankrupt the company. The man replies that he will get the company back on its feet and walks away. That evening, the man has dinner with his siblings and the woman, but he dampens their spirits by telling them that new furniture will arrive tomorrow and any old items will be stored. The girl gets upset and goes to her room with her siblings. However, the woman continues to scold him, upset for the children, telling him his heart is too hard on them, but he responds coldly, reminding her of her job and warning her not to overstep her boundaries with him again. The woman then tells him she quits, packs her clothes, and leaves. Unfortunately, Jacob arrives at the farm with owner, and they see Lily leaving. Jacob asks owner to go and fetch her, but Atash comes out after her and asks her to stay with the children until he finds another nanny. Lily agrees, albeit reluctantly. Jacob talks with owner, mentioning that Atash is their new target and that Lily will help them with their plan. The next day, Lily talks to Ealtar about Atash's harshness towards his siblings while she eats the cucumber intended for the salad. Ealtar gives her a card and tells her to buy cucumbers to replace the ones she ate. When Lily leaves, she encounters Atash standing in front of his car, offering her a ride. Elgaz, who has been watching them, calls her Aunt Faison and informs her that Atash has left the farm. At that moment, Faison arrives, and Elgaz begins to complain to her about Atash's treatment of them and his desire to change the furniture in the house. Faison tells her she will handle it and enters the farm's employees' circle, bribing them with money to report everything happening on the farm. Later, Atash arrives at his mother's school and meets BJ, who runs to him and hugs him when she sees him, taking him inside the exhibition. Lily stays in her place, and Atash forgets to introduce her. Lily sits and waits for him, but overhears students talking about Atash and admiring him. She intervenes, advising them not to be deceived by him, but is shocked to learn that Atash has been offering them scholarships and opened the school for them to learn from, indicating the place holds value for him. At that moment, Atash is talking with BJ about her working with him in his company after he fired Faison. BJ is delighted and agrees to work with him. As they are leaving, Atash is surprised to find that all the decorations in the place have been changed and learns that Lily did it. He scolds her and asks her not to meddle in things that don't concern her. Jacob is sitting with the rest of the gang, Mariam, Barish, and Owner, at a restaurant, ordering food at his expense after selling the stolen gold. He tells them that the new target is Atash and that he knows Lily managed to deceive him. Mariam is shocked as their secret is revealed. Meanwhile, Lily returns to the house, feeling disgusted with herself for not even buying the cucumber Ealtar asked for. She enters her room to pack her clothes, but is surprised by Faison offering her money to help her. Lily refuses the offer, causing Faison to leave the room upset by her behavior. We return to Ealtar, who begins to gather all the house's belongings to put them in storage on Atash's orders. When the furniture truck arrives, they all think it contains new furniture. However, the driver tells them it's just a tent that Atash ordered for himself to sleep in, delighting everyone with his gesture. Elgaz, however, is displeased. Minutes later, Atash is setting up the tent, and Lily approaches him, happy with his decision. We learn that Atash bought himself a tent to avoid old memories in the house. Lily thanks him for what he did, and to make her happier, Atash presents her with her necklace. Lily initially thinks he had been hiding it from her, prompting Atash to ask if she's paranoid. She tells him she expects anything from him. Then, She tries to wear the necklace but struggles, so Atash comes closer to help her put it on. Lily is thrilled to finally find her necklace, but is also flustered by Atash's closeness. At night, Lily receives a call from Osman, informing her that someone wants to meet her. When she steps outside, she's surprised to find Jacob in front of her. He then threatens her, saying she must either deceive Atash and make him their target, or he will reveal her true identity to him. He leaves her alone and walks away. Atash is at a nightclub with BJ, drinking and dancing. However, he receives a call from Ailtar that Birey is missing and they cannot find her. The entire household is searching for Birey, even as Omot and Fisan arrive, pretending to be concerned and joining the search. In reality, they are secretly pleased with Atash's misfortune. However, it turns out that Elgaz and Eidos are the ones who hid their sister in an attempt to drive Lily and Atash out of the farm. Atash arrives and begins searching for Birey. He tells Lily to stay with Elgaz and Eidos, but she doesn't listen to him and joins him in the search. Eidos goes to the place where he hid his sister, but only finds her teddy bear. He comes out and tells his sister, who then tells her aunt that they were the ones who hid Birey, but now she is lost and they don't know where she is. Fisan instructs them not to speak in front of anyone. Meanwhile, Lily, by understanding Birey's mindset, guesses that she is likely sleeping under a tree where there are birds. She goes with Atash and they search until they find her asleep. They take her back home. Omot, who is primarily concerned with proving that Atash is irresponsible, is reminded by Atash that the one who got lost is his sister and he should be more concerned about her than the company. They argue, and Atash then bans Omot and Fisan from entering the farm without his permission. We see Jacob dancing at the nightclub, throwing money around. Unfortunately, Hassan sees him, but due to his drunken state, he is unable to catch him, so Jacob gathers himself and leaves. The next day, Hassan wakes up and recounts to his family his encounter with Jacob and how he was unable to catch him. His main concern is finding Lily, while his family wants the stolen jewelry back. At the same time, Lily is in Birey's room, putting her to sleep. She makes sure she is okay, and then goes to talk with Atash. She is shocked when he fires her from the farm, telling her that she is not up to the responsibility. He admits his mistake in leaving her with the children, despite knowing she is not a nanny. He offers her the remainder of her salary in cash, but she refuses to take the money and leaves. At the next morning, we see Atash preparing breakfast for his siblings. Unusually, even BJ arrives and joins them for breakfast. Afterwards, Elgaz asks him if she can go to a friend's birthday party, and Atash agrees. However, remembering the rules set by his father, he goes to her room to talk to her. To his surprise, he overhears his siblings discussing their role in Birey's disappearance. Eidos confesses that they hid Birey to get Lily expelled on their aunt's orders. Atash punishes them after confirming that he had unjustly expelled Lily. Atash then calls the hotel to get Lily's phone number, but the receptionist refuses to give him any information, citing possible repercussions. However, Osman arrives and gives him her number. At that time, we see Lily with Mariam packing her clothes to travel. Atash calls her, asking her to return to the farm, but Lily hangs up, telling him she is leaving. Atash manages to reach her before she departs. Jacob is delighted to see Atash in front of him. Atash talks to Lily, who is holding her travel bag, telling her he is waiting for her at home and needs her to be the nanny for his siblings. He then leaves, and Jacob encourages her to return to the farm. Minutes later, Lily arrives and meets Atash, telling him she has returned under her conditions. He must treat her well and not talk down to her as he always does. Atash agrees, and Lily enters to see Birey, who is very happy to see her along with Eidos. At this time, Fisan is sitting at home on her couch. The alarm rings, reminding her of the meeting. She calls Omot, telling him she will attend the meeting, but he tells her there is no need as BJ has arrived at the company and taken her place. This upsets Faizan greatly, and she enters a room where all her designs are stored, talking to herself that no one can erase her presence. At the company, there is a problem with the designs. They are different from the pictures. Even the fabric is of poor quality. BJ informs Atash, who decides to cancel the meeting. However, Omot refuses to do so. Atash enters the meeting with Bija and explains the issue they faced, emphasizing that they are honest and did not intend to deceive or cheat anyone. He asks for a deadline extension to redesign the products, and the company board agrees, giving him a 4-day extension. In the middle of the night, as usual, Birey wakes up and goes to Atash's room to have her clothes changed because she had an accident. Atash goes with her and lays newspapers under her, but she refuses to sleep on them. Atash then goes to Lily's room, who is in the bathroom enjoying a shower with music playing. He opens the door and asks her to go to Birey's room, assuring her that he didn't look at her. Moments later, Lily arrives in Birey's room and is surprised to find newspapers on the bed. She tells him he should have changed the bedsheet. She takes Birey to bathe her, and Atash plays a YouTube YouTube video to learn how to spread a bedsheet, but still fails to do it properly. Lily enters and lays the bedsheet herself, but Birey refuses to sleep unless both of them sleep with her. As they fall asleep, Atash wakes up distressed, unable to breathe properly. Lily follows him and tries to calm, even placing his hand on her heart to reassure him. Fortunately, Onur sees them and feels jealous because he is in love with Lily. After calming down, Atash returns to his room. The next day, Atash and Lily, along with Birey, visit a psychologist who tells them that Birey greatly misses her parents. She instructs them to be mindful of her feelings, as her incontinence and loss of speech are reactions to her emotional state. The psychologist scolds Atash and Lily for arguing in front of Birey, demanding they be more cautious with their behavior around her. When Lily returns home, Iltar meets her and introduces her to the new employees, surprising her by revealing they are Jacob, Mariam, Onur, and Barish. As they all gather, Lily scolds them for changing their plan, but Onur explains he did it to protect her. Iltar interrupts and asks Lily to join the children. Later, Onur and Barish return to the storage area, but are shocked to find Hassan and his family waiting outside. Fortunately for them, Hassan sees them but cannot catch them due to their quick escape. Back at the company, Fisan returns to be part of the design team, but BJ struggles to work with her, so she takes the designs and goes to the farm. Atash finds her asleep and carries her to a room to rest. Lily sees this and becomes extremely jealous. When Atash enters the room, BJ tries to kiss him, but he refuses, reminding her they are just friends and asking her not to ruin their relationship. He makes it clear that he does not want to be romantically involved with anyone. Leaves the room. The next morning, Iltar informs Lily that she needs to get ready for a party the company is throwing for the children, and she needs to shop at their stores. Lily rushes to Mariam, admitting she is broke and needs to buy a new dress. Everyone gathers in the room, and Lily shares her predicament with them. Jacob asks everyone to contribute so Lily can afford the dress she needs, but she finds all the prices too high. Lily then goes to the company where Atash asks BJ to have the dress they designed worn by Lily because it would suit her best. However, Lily initially refuses, but Atash eventually convinces her to wear it. Back at the hotel, the secretary informs the hotel manager that Atash had called asking for information about a girl named Lily, which she had refused to provide. The manager scolds her and begins searching for all guests named Lily, collecting the information in an envelope to give to Atash. Later, the party starts, and Atash appears with Fisan and BJ, who asks him to smile for the press. At home, Lily prepares with the children, but Elgaz pretends to be sick to avoid going with them. In the garden, Barish stands listening to noises when he sees Elgaz trying to escape. He gives her the option to either let him drive her to the party or report her escape. Reluctantly, Elgaz agrees to go with him. Barish drives her to the party location, but Elgaz refuses to let him come inside with her. Surprisingly, Barish sees her getting into a different car with another boy. Later, Elgaz and her friends arrive at the venue and start spraying paint on the company's door. Security sees them and gives chase, but Barish arrives just in time to rescue her from the security guards. Unfortunately, the police arrive and arrest them. Shortly after, Lily arrives at the party, stunning everyone with her beauty and green dress. Even Omot can't control himself when he sees her. Atash asks Lily to dance with him, but BJ interrupts, suggesting he meet with the company board to sign some contracts, and offers Omot to dance with Lily to showcase the beauty of the dress. Lily actually ends up dancing with Omot, and Atash watches jealously, but suddenly Lily trips over her dress, embarrassing herself in front of everyone, leaves the party. Atash follows her and finds her taking off her shoes. Deciding to call her Cinderella, he approaches and dances with her. He moves in to kiss her, but BJ interrupts and calls him back to the party. When Lily returns to the party, BJ confronts her, telling her that Atash left with another woman, that it's his habit to distance himself from anyone who gets close. Lily insists she came back because of Omot and asks him to drive her home. Atash sees them together and feels upset. BJ uses the opportunity to suggest that they go out to celebrate the success of their company. Atash agrees and leaves with BJ. They dance and celebrate together. Remembering the moment Lily left with Omot and fueled by jealousy, he agrees to go home with BJ when she invites him. However, Atash changes his mind and returns to the farm instead. He finds Lily sitting with Omot, laughing together. He enters and ruins their evening by kicking Omot out of the house, warning him never to enter again when he's not around. Determined to get back at his brother, Omot meets with Orhan. Partner tells him that Atash might have secured the British deal, but he won't be able to escape his tricks. He reassures Orhan that the company will soon be theirs again. Meanwhile, Lily brings Atash some coffee to help him sober up, but he ends up falling into the water. Thinking he's drowning, she jumps in to save him. Atash then pulls her close and kisses her. Jacob and Onur see this. Noor is heartbroken because he loves Lily, while Jacob feels their plan is nearing success, believing Lily has managed to make Atash fall in love with her. Lily wakes up very happy and then receives a call from Miriam, who wants to know everything that happened. They meet with Jacob, who tells them he saw Lily and Atash kissing. He encourages Lily to finish her mission as soon as possible. At that time, the hotel manager goes to the farm with the envelope he prepared for Atash. Atash is woken up by Ailtar, who tells him the hotel manager wants to meet him. When Atash wakes up, he meets Lily, who is embarrassed about what happened between them, but it's clear that Atash doesn't remember anything. At the same time, flowers arrive at the house. Lily thinks they are from Atash. However, the card is from Omot, thanking her for the time they spent together at the party, which upsets Atash. He walks away. Atash then meets with the hotel manager, who introduces him to Lily's family, all of whom are terrified when they see the hotel manager, fearing it's the end for them because he might tell Atash everything. But fortunately for them, the police call Ailtar to inform him that Elgaz and Barish are at the station. The hotel manager leaves, but accidentally leaves the envelope concerning Lily, which Miriam picks up and gives to Ailtar, telling him the hotel manager left it for Atash. Shortly after, Atash arrives with Elgaz and Barish to his office, to the astonishment of everyone present. Atash demands the truth from Elgaz, or threatens to inform Seversen about the incident, which would become public, jeopardizing her chance to enter the university she wants. Barish and Elgaz come out of the office, and Barish tells Lily that the police couldn't prove anything because they didn't appear on surveillance cameras. Elgaz's punishment is that she has to work with him, and Barish rejoices with his team that they will stay and not leave. However, there's an issue with the envelope. Lily doesn't know how to retrieve it after learning from Miriam that she gave it to Ailtar. When she enters Atash's office, she sees him opening the envelope. Pretending to faint, Atash takes her in his car. Lily tries to delay Atash as much as possible until the rest of the gang can reach the key. Close to Atash, she feels no emotions towards him, even forgetting what happened between them after the party. She leaves him and returns home. When Lily gets home, she learns from Miriam that they couldn't get to the key. In her room, Lily cries because Atash has forgotten their moments together. At night, Lily enters Barrett's room to take her to the bathroom. Atash wakes up and remembers what the doctor said about Barrett. Finding Lily with her, he leaves as soon as she sees him. He then takes Barrett back to her bed and leaves. Meanwhile, Miriam manages to enter Ailtar's room and steals the key, which she gives to Jacob, who makes a copy. The next morning, Mart goes to the kitchen and gives Miriam the envelope, which she is thrilled to see. Holding it, she tears it up, ending the fear that had been haunting them. Lily enters their office, looking stunning, as part of their plan to make Atash fall in love with her. Indeed, Atash is immediately captivated by her beauty. So is Omot. Lily is holding Atash's travel bag. She informs them about the fabric shortage in the market, but claims she can secure what they need. Atash gives her 3 hours to find the fabrics before he departs for Britain. Even Seversen supports her for the first time. To annoy Beja, Lily and Atash head to the market to search every shop, but unfortunately, they cannot find the required fabrics. Meanwhile, Hassan, holding a photo of Lily, is also searching for her. Shopkeeper tells him she just left. Finally, Lily finds a store with the silk fabrics she needs. Atash negotiates with the merchant to become their exclusive supplier, and the merchant agrees to work with them. As Lily leaves the store, she sees Hassan and quickly gets into the car with Atash. However, Hassan sees her and takes down the car's number plate. He calls his mother to tell her he found Lily and plans to bring her back. Back at Beja's office, Seversen taunts her by boasting about Lily, the nanny, managing to find the fabrics. Beja dismisses this, stating that finding the fabric wasn't her real job. Executing it was, which irritates Seversen, and she leaves. That night, Atash returns to the farm with Lily, only to find Barish and Elgaz fighting. He separates them after discovering that Elgaz sabotaged his work. Meanwhile, Lily tries to calm Atash down, who is struggling to cope with his siblings. She encourages him to persevere, reminding him that it's only 2 months left out of 3. However, Atash suspects her intentions, questioning her identity. Lily is flustered and unable to respond. Suddenly, Hassan appears, calling out to her as his wife, proclaiming his love. Atash looks into her eyes, seeking truth, while Lily is shocked by Hassan's revelation, which jeopardizes her entire plan.